It's 11:47 on a Tuesday night, and you're lying in bed scrolling through your phone again. You open your banking app out of habit, and the number finally has 6 figures inside it. $100,214 at 30 years old, after 8 years of chasing. You feel absolutely nothing. And the nothing is the most honest thing you have felt in years. Not relief, not pride, not the arrival you were promised by every video you ever watched. You stare at the screen the way you would stare at a stranger's license plate outside. You put the phone face down on the nightstand and lie back into the dark room. A question forms inside you, one you cannot say out loud, and it refuses to leave. If this is not the feeling, then where exactly is the feeling supposed to be hiding? Here is what nobody tells you about tonight, and it changes how you read everything before it. The number was never carrying the feeling, not tonight, not ever, not for one single person. The feeling got spent along the way, in places you never once thought to go looking. Go back to 22, where you have $400 in a 2 a.m. spreadsheet open. On the spreadsheet sits a number you did not derive, 100,000 by age 30. You inherited it from a video, an article, and one confident stranger at a forgettable party. It felt like ambition on the screen, and it behaved like a debt for 8 years. But be honest with yourself about what choosing the number felt like on the first night. With $400, you felt more alive about money than you feel right now tonight. The night held the one thing tonight is missing, distance between you and the number. Write this rule down somewhere, because tonight proves it in the most expensive way there is. A goal you finally touch stops producing the feeling responsible for making you chase it. The gap was where the feeling lived, and tonight you closed the gap for good. 23, and the spreadsheet says you should be sitting at $4,000 by now. You sit at $1,900 instead, because in March the car made a sound you never heard before. You waited in the shop, doing the math on a cracked phone screen, quietly and privately humiliated. Nobody's spreadsheet has a row for the car, the tooth, or the unplanned flight back home. The plan you copied was built by a person who never once showed you their march. The afternoon installed a quiet new rule: the balance must never bend the wrong way again. You rebuilt the number within a few months, but something else never recovered from the bend. The plan survives the setback, but your relationship with the plan does not survive it. From now on you protect the line first, and everything else negotiates for second place. 24. And you hit $10,000 for the first time in your entire life. It delivers a small electric jolt, and perhaps a full day of quiet, private satisfaction. Notice where the jolt came from, because you are about to misfile it for 6 years. It came from the slope, from the distance you traveled, never from the balance itself. 26, 38,000, and this is the year the number starts eating things politely. You skip the trip your friends take, because flights cost a whole month of visible progress. At a birthday dinner, you convert the bill into delayed milestone units without meaning to. Progress has quietly become the thing you protect first, ahead of the people at the table. Ahead of schedule, you tell yourself on the drive home, and the phrase sounds like achievement. Ahead of whose schedule, though? And who exactly decided this race was worth running at all? You copied the deadline at 22 from someone whose life you never bothered to examine. Every sacrifice made for a borrowed goal gets billed to you personally, and always with interest. The trips, the dinners, the small daily refusals, none of them were free, only deferred. 27, 52,000, and the raise finally lands after 2 long years of waiting. For about 2 weeks the raise changes the texture of everything, and then it disappears. The contribution rises, the rent rises, and your days return to exactly what they were. This is also the year you notice the checking, not the amount of it, the timing. You check after a bad meeting, standing in line, and at 1 a.m. when sleep refuses. The balance became the place you go to feel something, and it stopped answering years ago. You kept knocking on the door anyway, night after night, expecting a different kind of silence. More money entering the system does not change what the system was built to produce. You fed it more, and it produced the same gray day, only at a higher cost. 28, 67,000, and something strange has settled in, something you cannot yet name. The number climbs steadily, and the needle inside you refuses to move even 1 single degree. So you conclude the number must not be big enough, and you quietly tighten again. You move the feeling's arrival date to a bigger balance, and you call the move discipline. At 28, a coworker casually asks you what all of this saving is truly meant for. You open your mouth and nothing comes out, because the honest answer is only a number. 8 years in, your destination has a balance, but it does not have an address. Every time the feeling failed to arrive, you promised it would arrive at the next number. The feeling is now 7 promises deep, and tonight every single promise comes due at once. Each promise pays out nothing, because none of them were ever funded in the first place. A feeling postponed to a bigger number is not postponed, it is quietly and permanently canceled. 29.5, 91,000, close enough now to begin rehearsing the arrival moment. You picture telling someone, booking the trip, finally taking the long exhale you believe you earned. Some quiet part of you already suspects the guest of honor is not going to come. The rehearsals feel more real than anything the balance has produced in the past 2 years. In the final month you slow down, checking less, trying to arrive at it completely fresh. You even pick the night, keep the evening open, and tell absolutely nobody the reason. There is something tender about it, a person preparing a room for a long-expected guest. And then it is tonight, 11:47, $100,214 exactly. And nothing arrives, no guest, no exhale, no version of the feeling you spent months rehearsing. So now you know the full autopsy, but stay in the dark for 1 minute longer. The nothing you feel is not evidence of failure, it is evidence of the wrong resolution. You optimized a number standing in for things you never once took the time to name. Safety perhaps, proof perhaps, permission, almost without question, all folded into one 6-figure proxy. Tonight the proxy paid out in full, and the real things were not inside the box. Proxies never contain the things they point at, and you stopped looking where this one pointed. Here is what was producing the feeling in every single moment it ever showed up. The night at 22 was agency, the pure aliveness of choosing your own direction alone. The jolt at 24 was momentum, the visible slope of your own effort stacking up. Those were the real assets all along, and the balance was only ever their exhaust. Anticipation is a fuel, and you burned every drop of it on the road here. Now you stand at the destination with an empty tank, asking why nothing is moving. Tomorrow morning you will face 2 options, and most people quietly take the first one. Option 1, decide the number was too small, and set 250,000. You reboard the same train, because the train is familiar, and the platform is terrifying. Option 2 is harder to say out loud and far simpler to do than it sounds. Keep the money, keep the habits, but take the feeling off the balance's payroll forever. Ask the question you skipped at 22. What was this number supposed to buy? Tomorrow, in daylight, you open the app and look at it without asking for anything. Then you write 3 lines, what safety costs, 1 free Saturday, and 1 postponed thing. The balance compounds either way, you are only changing where the feeling gets deposited now. Safety has a number, and the number is smaller than you have been assuming for years. Permission was yours the entire time, and you were the one quietly withholding it from yourself. The feeling lives in choosing, building, and naming, and none of those carry minimum balances. It is 11:53 now, and the room looks exactly the way it looked at 11:46. Somewhere out there, a 22-year-old with $400 is building your exact same spreadsheet. They feel everything you cannot feel tonight, convinced the feeling waits at the finish line. The room they sit in looks a lot like yours did, right down to the lamp. You want to message them tonight, warn them, tell them what the finish line holds. But you already know how this conversation goes, because they will never believe one word. You did not believe it either 8 years ago, on the night you chose the number.